So during that break, was there any, did you learn anything interesting, learn anything different? Was anything different, do you think?
Yeah, there was. I mean, I was actually struck by a comment that Adolfo just made. Because as he heard you talking, he says, it sounds like you're a storyteller. And that's what I do. I am a storyteller.
I like it.
And so that feedback that I received from him, I'm going to use that because rather than just kind of dancing around the issue, say I'm a storyteller and I help people find value in their stories.
That's fantastic. That's what we're going to do. That. So anybody else learn anything interesting?
Great video.
Or did you find anything, get any kind of, it doesn't have to be about someone else, maybe about yourself or the conversation. Did you find yourself listening as opposed to talking and really being present and maybe any different than you would have before?
I also find myself being really excited about what they were telling.
That's great. That's fantastic. No, that's fantastic. That's when you know you're in a really good listening place. Because you're really interested in it. It's fun. It's something new. At least that's how I have always taken listening, and I love it. To just learn so much from so many different people. And then, does anybody know pretty well? Can anyone tell me what someone else does for a living from what you learned?
Well, I was talking to, Gina. And she puts together parties for, that have different kinds of alcohol and balsamic vinegars and olive oils.
That sounds
And the olive oils have like different flavors.
nice.
And so yeah, it was interesting. And your mouth was watering?
That's right now.
I was wondering about the lemon olive oil. Though. I was like, it's good to
Well,
cook fish. Oh,
And just
yeah.
as a, when we finish, we're going to give away your prizes. And one of those is from Tina.
Nice.
Raspberry caramelized balsam.
So if I win, you know, there's nothing fixed about it. So, anything else? Anybody learn anything else? How did you feel when you were telling your story? How did you feel about that?
I was going to say I learned a lot about Cody.
Okay.
He was one of the first, pretty much one of the first ones to get into Thrive.
Nice.
And he met his girlfriend at a
Nice.
conference in Vegas. So that was kind of
Cool.
What I struggle with is how deep to go, being it's a very technical field. You know, if I meet other engineers, I really easily gravitate towards them. But I'm always struggling with how to word something because you don't know, if you're an expert in something, you don't know what level of how to generalize that out.
Okay. Absolutely. That's a great point, and that's actually a little bit of what we'll talk about next. How to have that message that we're getting across to people. So when you were telling someone about what you did, how did you feel about that? Did you feel comfortable about it when you were able to convey it in a really short period of time? And get the message across so that they could actually say, this is what I do? It's a really important piece, and there's a couple of different parts to it. So when you do your message, when you talk about what you're going to talk about, you tell about it. And break it up into a couple of different ways. Some of the things we wanted to keep it simple. Go back and talk about engineering technical stuff, especially keep it simple. Talk about Paul Harvey. Familiar with the great Paul Harvey? Mm-hmm. He always used to say he did in shirt sleeve English.
Good thing.
And that's, to me, that was always a model and a really kind of a gauging point to me. Anybody can understand what I'm talking about. I know a lot about a lot of different things. I know a lot, some of it on higher levels than others. If I talk to someone who doesn't understand, I want to make sure that I get the message across to them.
I've also heard it put as being keep it K through 6.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, 6th grade,
Yeah.
12th grade, wherever that level needs to be, just so the general person
No,
can
no, are you
understand.
smarter than a fifth grader?
No. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right. Okay, so then the message and focusing on your client, it's not about you. Get the message in. We buy what we want, how we need, and emotion sells, and logic justifies the sales. We want to make sure that our message is crafted around the same idea. So when we develop our message, we're going to go back to those benefit statements. It all starts with that benefit statement. So what we want to do is, and we're not going to do it all the way down here, but take a little bit of time and write down some of the benefits of what you offer. And I want you to go home, when you go home and do this, to as many as you can think about, right? Brainstorm like crazy, think of all the benefits you can do. So the first step is, what are the benefits of what we do? Write a few down. Okay, so, somebody share a couple of, T, what do you got?
And taste before you buy.
Okay. Gina?
I do e-training courses.
Perfect. Tom?
Save money,
How about you, Scott? You get it?
improve vacation outcomes.
Awesome. Mike?
Save people money,
Okay.
take the pain out of financing the biggest investment.
And what do you?
Get sick less often. Help people relax.
Perfect. Okay, so now, take those same benefits, or features, I mean, and write as many benefits as you can for each one. Some features are gonna have more than one benefit.
Just listed benefits.
Just listed benefits, sorry, features first. I said, but didn't, okay. So anyway, now you're gonna have it. So list the feature that gives you the benefit that you just listed, since I went backwards. You see where I'm going with this, though, right? Hang on. Okay. Correct. So let's go back now, give me a feature. So what's a feature?
And tastings.
Consultation.
Perfect.
Membership plans,
Okay.
quick response,
Awesome.
referral plan.
Awesome. Okay. So now, and really, and when you do this at home, when you go through the exercise, easier if you go in order. Start with the features. List as many of them as you can think of. And depending on what you do, the list is, it's going to be long no matter what. Some things it's going to be much longer than others. Then, as many benefits as you can find for each feature. Lots of features are going to have more than one benefit, right? They do more than one thing. They make more than solve more than one problem.
There's a features can be kind of complex, because sometimes those features that we don't care, some people may not care that you're hitting a site that's SSL secure, other people might. How do we, are features really tied to what is the user's expecting?
No, feature is just what it is. And any expectation of it. So SSL secure is a feature. Absolutely. And sum it up in that. Now, the benefit of that is you can have transactions that are secure. And then, so that's one benefit. There are others. You can name a couple of different ones for that same one. Keep it simple. Feature, and then benefit, pretty simple as well.
What would you put as the real benefit for SSL?
Well, why is that important? Why would you care?
Well, personally, I would care because I don't want, for example, my identity stolen.
I was just gonna say it protects people's identity. That's what I would say. I feel more secure. I have a feeling of security knowing that my identity is safe.
But in a B2B application, it's so different.
Well, okay, so if I'm a business owner, why do I
It's,
care
I
about
guess
that?
you're protecting IP or,
And your consumer.
yeah.
That's in many cases that's more important than my own. That's what I would think.
Features that have no benefits other than they help you sell things. Like a case in point would be a television set that has an SD card slot so you can look at photos. It is a feature that in the industry they know that it is used so marginally. However, when people are looking at products and adding up side by side, they say, well, this one, all right, then look at photos. With, I can put it in here and look at photos. And so they'll make that buy based off of features, not off of actual
No,
benefit.
they're not making it off the feature. The features, you have the cards, the reason they bought it is because they wanted photos, right?
But they don't look at photos. That's not
I mean,
true.
well, but they
the feeling,
think they're
the feeling
going
they're
to.
doing, the emotional
There's a
feeling
perceived
is,
benefit that won't get.
the emotional, well, maybe. You don't know that. Somebody did.
Well, I did, because I used to work with people who did that, but
Remember,
we laughed at that.
I don't know, but just remember,
Because we had to have it.
I know, but just remember, though, it's not about you. Your experience is not the same as
Yeah.
Ryan's or Greg's.
But I think what he's saying is that if you're in an industry where there's a lot of the same product, like cable modems, for example, a vendor may just stuff features in to show that they have features that the end customer doesn't really ever use, but they see that there's a bigger feature. But you're saying it's perceived value.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely,
definitely.
absolutely.
And maybe it's value for different people. Like my son's a professional photographer. He does look at pictures on TV. He likes to know the image of product. So that feature for him might make a difference.
I would agree.
It's like 1 out of 1,000 people.
That's okay, and that's, but that's why they build it, when they
But
make
yeah,
it.
and it would be, it's a real benefit for that person, but.
Right, and it doesn't have to be for everyone, and that's why I want you to list as many as you can think of, because when you have that conversation with someone and you're selling them that TV, the pictures aren't important to them, you're not gonna talk about that, because it doesn't mean anything to them. You gotta find out what's important to them. Now, maybe it is that 1 in a million person who that's like the reason they're gonna buy it. Well, then, guess what? You've got that piece there that you can add some real value to them with that. Does that make sense? Same, we're going with that? So now, okay, so now you've got a list of features, and a list of benefits for each feature. Now the fun part comes, where we work on what that real benefit is of each of those benefits. This can be a pretty cumbersome process, and sometimes when you do it, the more time you spend on this in your preparation for what you do, the more successful you will be. It's just, this is where a lot of people get in trouble in sales, because they don't do the work ahead of time. If you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna operate on kids, give them a heart transplant, how much time do they take in training and practice and learning to get to that point?
Years.
Okay. If you're gonna go and play the Masters, how much time did that take you? How much do you have to invest ahead of time to get ready for that? There's everything in the world is like that. Part of the problem with selling and why there's so much negative around it is because people get into it oftentimes by accident and out of necessity. And they get thrown in, they don't get any training. They just go out and do it, and they're not very good at it, and they think that you have to lie to be successful or be manipulative, and they don't do the work ahead of time, and that's where that bad name comes from. That's where the bad reputation comes from. This is hard work for sales. This is the hard work. Learning your product, learning your what you're really doing, why you're adding value. So when you're talking about nutritional stuff, you see where this is the important thing? So what's the feature, right? You got your patch, right? That's where, that's cool. What's the benefit?
Consistent feed, consistent, what's the word for it?
Yeah.
Feeding the
You
supplement
get-
all day long.
You get your vitamins all day long. You don't have to worry about taking pills all different parts of the day. That's pretty cool. What does that really mean? That means that you're getting what your body needs so that you can get up in the morning and have the energy to play with your kids when they come home from school. That's the real benefit of that. Or, I don't have to go and buy that insulin every day and inject myself with it. That's the real benefit.
If you're finding that, let's say, 4 features have the same benefit between features, you
No, no.
just need to boil it down to 1 feature.
No, that's okay. Doesn't happen, and oftentimes that will happen. Although there's probably more than one benefit for that feature as well. Oftentimes they're gonna do the same thing.
It's kind of hard to differentiate between feature and function.
And oftentimes, and that it's a usable, it's an okay thing to have, feature, or benefit, function. That's okay, what it does is, that's okay. That's kind of what it really is. what it means is the next one, and that's where it really gets important. Because when you talk about it, the feature is SSL secure. Benefit of that is your information secure. It's okay. What it really means to me though, that's where it gets important. I have that security knowing that my customer's information is safe. I'm not open to a lawsuit that's gonna bite my friend. So, we kind of got better as well. Foundation of your best is that benefits. So the feature, so what it looks like, the feature is, what it means to you is, and what it really means to you is, yes. So anybody got one that they can put together and tell me about? Give me a benefit statement for something that you come up with.
I've got one in the life safety business, so that's some emotion we will benefit. So if we have quick response, 24-hour service, that's a feature. Benefit is, your problems are addressed and solved quickly. The real benefit is you have a safer environment for your tenants or occupants of the building.
Where you don't have to worry about the documents or people, if something happens, you don't have to worry about it. Anybody else? What do you think, Gina?
So my feature is e-trainings.
Is what?
E-trainings.
Okay.
The benefits are that you can get consistent training from one employee to the next. And the emotional benefit is that you get a stronger team, more loyalty to the company, more trust from your customers, more money to spend on bonuses and equipment.
So no, I think those are all benefits, so.
Really?
Wouldn't the e-learning be the product that you're offering?
Okay.
Could be, yeah, I mean, that's true. You can certainly narrow it down to different parts of the features of that e-learning, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Good point. So what's a feature of the e-learning?
Okay, then I guess it would be 24/7 accessibility.
There you go, perfect, 24/7 accessibility.
Okay.
What's the benefit of that?
Training on their schedule.
That you don't need to get a bunch of people together in a room.
Training on their schedule.
Right.
So what does that really mean to you? Why is that important?
This is the part I really struggle
I don't have to
with.
worry, I don't have to worry about coordinating schedules.
And more people will get trained.
More people will get trained. Absolutely, we're all going to have the same message.
Scalable, that's what I have on mine, is scalable, that applies to you, because the MOOCs now, some of the MOOCs have 40,000 students per class. Per class.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The technology. So, okay, so does this all make sense? You see what we're doing with this? And then when we put it in there, we have that quick response. That's a feature. This is a great product. This is a great service we offer, it's quick response. What that means to you is if something happens, if something breaks down, we're going to be there to fix it. What that really means to you is, God forbid something does happen, you can be comfortable that those documents are safe. See how that works? Put it in that, and actually write it down in a statement that you're going to be able to say to someone. Because now when you're talking to someone that's a big deal for them, you can use that as a tool to build value and to build an emotional connection and give them a reason to buy from your job. So, yeah, you get tons of different things like that. Okay.
So, how about free consultation? So, a free consultation is a benefit. And what that means for somebody is that if they have a question, they can ask and they can get answers and have somebody to talk to, they have somebody that they can call and have peace of mind.
It really means that you can be comfortable that you're not going to run into trouble when you're with your family.
Yeah, confidence.
It's an interesting one, right, because it's a win-win, right? Because now, if you're giving a consultation, you're also in a position to offer your services, right?
That's a lot of what this is. Win-win. If you can't make it a win, then you won't go down that process. It's not appropriate to go further. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now we got different levels of kind of the messaging that we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about. So, I probably should put one in there. So the first one I want to talk about is, I call it the family story. And this is what, if you're gonna talk, let's say your mom or your best friend calls on the phone, says, what are you doing these days? This is where you boil it down into just like a couple of minutes and kind of give the essence of what you're doing. Probably a little bit of why in there as well. And really develop that story. This as much as anything is to help you to understand and you to really have that core understanding of what it is you want to do, what it is you want to say, how you want to explain. I'm talking about telling to a sixth grader. This is what it's all about. So if I asked, Greg, what do you do? You
I
just
do-
changed, so it's new.
I do. I deliver amazing technology products that the world has never experienced before.
I want to know more.
Good.
Perfect. Good.
So, why do I need to know what I do when I'm selling a product? Really, it's around what the product does. Is this just internally developed for the startup or the entrepreneur? Because this is really what I do, not the product, right?
Well, and what you're doing and what you're offering to the world. So what your product is, absolutely. So when you're a brand new business, right? You're just starting out. Your best friend comes up and says, Brian, tell me what you're doing these days. And you only got a few minutes, you're having a beer, whatever, you don't know the in-depth stuff, you just kind of give them the real nuts and bolts and say, this is what we're doing. I mean, or what our startup is, what our company is, what our product is, what our service is, whatever that is, that real brief and powerful piece to it. This is a hard one, I think, for a lot of people to develop. And Amanda's shaking her head because we work together. And it's a,
I'm still working on this.
right, and you will, it's a work in progress.
So kind of
Continuous.
just I wanted to throw an example, and you can correct me where I'm at. So as far as like developing my message, making it short, instead of telling people like, oh, someone asked me what am I doing, instead of telling them, oh, I sell Thrive, switching it to more like I'm helping people change their lives. Is that more of the like story or like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where
yeah.
okay.
Maybe a little bit of how you're doing it. How you're doing it. Does that make sense?
I think the Thrive experience and what I see and read, that's really the family story of your personal one.
Yeah.
When you say like,
Yeah, no, I
this
agree.
is, you started Thrive, this is where you've gone, you know that.
Yep, helping people meet nutritional goals that they never dreamed they could and what it's doing. It's helping me, it's helping tons of people, and they're healthy, they're doing things that they never dreamed they could do, and they're making a bunch of money doing it. You know, something like that. It's, you know, it's gonna be a little different for everybody, this is gonna change for everybody. Brandon, got an idea what I'm talking about here, does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So the next one I want to talk about, this is kind of a little bit of a step back, because this is, we're going to go to the three messages that I really want you to, these are the ones I really want you to work on and develop. Elevator intro, and I kind of, used to be the elevator pitch, they called it. I'm not a big fan of pitch per se, and I'm talking about this one. You get on an elevator, you got 2 or 3 floors at the most, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Someone says, struggling with how to get this vacation to you got 10, 15 seconds to get their attention. What do you say?
I usually ask them, where are you trying to go? Can I travel agent?
Ding, ding, ding. Then,
And they're like, oh, well, and they kind of, and then, you know, and just engage in that conversation.
right, you don't have time to engage with that. So this one is going to be really short, brief, something to get their attention and make them ask for more. You know, on vacation, having trouble, oh, this is crazy. Funny you should bring that up. That's what I do. I can make it simple. Something like that. It works, it might not work every time. It's going to be something you do really brief. The mortgage guys, you guys run into this all the time.
Yeah, you consider refinancing your house, that's how you can take care of it.
Right. Or man, these guys are so crooked, I don't know what the hell's up and down, I don't know who's doing what right. You hear someone say that, you go,
Yeah, did you see that baseball game last night?
Go to 4-4.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, a message, short, simple, to
Does
the
it
point.
include, does this include the family story on?
No. Just all separate
They
things.
seem
So,
the
no.
same to me.
Nope. And
Yeah.
it can have part of a family story, it's just, it's short.
So I
It's
came up
just a quick
with,
intro, really quick, something with some kind of a, hopefully a hook.
Right. so
Yeah,
for
go
the
ahead.
family story I came up with, I'm developing a communication services marketplace pre-sales product catalog. So that also kind of sounds like the elevator intro, because you have to say what it is that you're selling.
Okay, on the family story, I want you to be a little bit more, kind of give me a little bit better of an idea what that means. As you're talking about, because I don't,
Talking to
I'm your
mom.
friend, you're talking to me, I have no idea. what you're saying.
Well, I
I'm
would
talking
say,
to my parents about
this.
I would say the family story would flesh it out. You know, this is what it's gonna do. Whereas that's more of your intro. And I'm assuming you're speaking to people that understand what you're saying.
Well, I do have to feel like the family story is more to people that you know or your relationships, people that you're warm on, right? This to me seems like it'd be more like a co-market thing to kind of get people interested in what it is you got.
Really quick, you guys are just dates over the weekend, right? You're at a crap station, you mention
Yeah.
someone and they say, damn, I'm just tired all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Say something to them, you know, because you don't want to bug them. Something to maybe, you know, the 3-foot rule, if you're, for all you network marketers or mortgage people or salespeople in general, 3-foot rule, everybody knows what that is, right? So,
I don't know.
anyone who's within 3 feet of you knows what you do. That's old school selling, and but it's something that's powerful. Don't overdo it. This is what it's about. When you hear someone and they say something that makes sense, man, I'm trying to buy a new house and I just can't seem to get qualified. I don't know what to do. I got an appointment at the bank next week.
Well, like at the crap table thing, Cody could be like, well, I'm not anymore because I'm wearing this.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
I mean, right.
you know, and
Right.
then you leave it there. If they want more info,
It's
they're
out
all
there.
over.
So that's what we're talking about on the elevator. So the family story goes a little bit more depth, and that time, sometimes we go into that maybe when you talk to them afterwards. So let's go to the next level, which is, I call it the networking commercial. I know a lot of you people think,
So real quickly for 10 seconds, Brian, would be possibly something like along the lines, offer services that help slow down the aging process.
sure. Or how would you like it if you felt hungry? Or something like that. Okay, that's good. That's it. Quick, to the point. Man, help. People feel younger all the time. You know, that's what we're trying to get that. So the next level of the communication we're going to do, the next message we're going to make is the next step up. And this is your networking commercial. I know a lot of you guys are networking groups. Others have done networking and those kind of things. This is your commercial where you get in a group and you've got 30 seconds to a minute to talk about what you do. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody do it? Yeah. A lot of us do it a lot. Shelley, do you ever do any networking?
Yeah. I don't, really.
Okay, no.
Mine's
You're always so
on
busy,
referral.
you're always so busy
Yeah.
anyway, doesn't matter.
Actually, my friends network for me, right?
That's perfect. Cody, how about you? You ever do any networking?
Not like specific blue shape like that, however, I mean, I use this all the time, rather than just a elevator screech.
No, this is a step up. And this is what a lot of people used to, and a lot of the sales would call it an elevator speech. That's what they call it. This is kind of designed to spend a little bit more time. You have a little bit more time, but you don't have a ton of time. And you don't want to bore them. You don't want to go out and just dump features in. This is where you want to do something, again, that's going to spike their interest. And it may or may not apply to the whole group. That's okay. If I'm talking to this group and I want to sell something, I'm going to throw out something that may only affect 2 or 3 of you. That's okay. We work on this a lot. So what's something that you can throw out about your case? So we get to a networking event of yours, right? And you're going to say, so, anybody ever feeling older than they like to be? Or you know anybody who feels a lot older than they really are? Start with that. Then, throw in the benefits. Something that's gonna, you got this great product that helps you to Put another, have the energy. This kind of stuff. And then a call to action. Yeah, that's what you want to do to make sure that when you do get them, because you don't have time to try and do it. So many people in these commercial, the reason I bring this up is so many people when they go to networking events, and you guys who go to a lot of networking events don't talk about it, they get up and they try to say every single thing about their product. They try to give a full product presentation in 30 seconds. You know what I'm talking about? How effective is that?
Not.
Do you remember what they do? You got to do something that's going to get their attention, because yeah, you're listening to 10, 15, 30 people in a room, all giving a 1-minute speech. You got to stand out. You got to give them a reason to listen to. That's what this is about. Don't dump the benefits, one particular thing, and then a call to action, or a hook or something that's going to say, tell them we're talking about vacations. Tell a good story. Well, I know this guy who called me about a vacation and then he just booked it himself. He got to Phoenix. Hotels.com didn't have his room.
I know, thanks, Louis. We'll just go.
Yeah. And there wasn't a room there. You ever been in that situation? Well, maybe not, but do you ever want to be in that situation? Let's talk afterwards. So, those kind of things.
So I always kind of start with a question about do people like to sit in traffic? And again, throwing a question out there, I think having a question makes people sit up and listen for a second. Because I find, like, when I do an elevator, when I do a commercial like that, I've been to networking groups where there's 50 people, and you're right, it's hard to try to remember everybody's elevator speech, but they're all trying to just get out what they do. So I always found that if you ask a question, it makes people sit up and think for a second, well, what is he asking, why is he asking that question, and what's the answer? And if you make it somewhat humorous, it makes it even better, so it makes it memorable in some way.
Emotional.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So give me an example.
Sure.
Go for the group. You did this now.
Yeah, I did. Well, I'm
Gotta
done.
stand.
Okay, I'm done. I'd like to ask everybody a question. Who likes sitting in traffic? Anybody? Yeah. Sure, a few people put up their hands. But the benefit of sitting in traffic is you get to sit and just listen to something while you're driving. At Talker Books Plus, we have the solution for your traffic jams, for your road rage. We offer rentals of audiobooks. Now, there's a lot of stuff on the radio now, politics, news, sports, music, stuff we've all heard in the past. We've all heard it over and over again. And if you're in my age group, you know the music you've been listening to for the same 40 years. Try some different audiobooks. We have a variety of audiobooks. We make them available for rent, for sale, for trade. Come on down and see me, Talking Books Plus, your audiobook authority. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, so good. So the only thing I can feed that is make it a little bit shorter. And then say, come see me, I'm great at recommending.
Yeah.
I can help you find something that you're going to really enjoy.
I didn't like that you said I had road rage.
And that's okay though, because some people are going to relate to it somewhere.
Okay.
But that's okay. And yeah.
I really like your addition, because for me, in my mind, I'm thinking, why not just use an Audible, right? That would be a lot easier than having to go there. But my biggest issue is I don't know what to listen to or to read. So a good recommendation is important. That makes it valuable.
So call to action. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anybody else got one they can do? I know this is hard because this takes a little bit more time to develop. Amanda, tell me one. Give me one. I know you can do it.
Yeah. So who here?
Stand up.
Amanda. And who here has ever had a situation that 3 o'clock in the afternoon you're absolutely crashing, and you've had no energy, and you start going out and searching for snacks, or maybe even want to go take a nap? I know that's me sometimes. Well, I have a girlfriend who was struggling with that hugely, and what she did is when she started the Plexus product, she started noticing that in the afternoons that she was no longer crashing, she had plenty of energy, and she did not want to go, absolutely destroy the snack machine. So she's seeing some great results. So anyone who has that kind of issue should absolutely talk to me so we can get that snack issue under control.
But she often has free samples to give away too.
Yes.
Perfect. Anybody else with that? See where we're going, Randy, does this make sense? See where we're going with this? See the difference in it? You see where you might use it somewhere?
It's just tough with the B to B complex.
One thing I can say is that, you know, coming from a technical background, one of the things I've always had to struggle with is, I want to say what I do, not what the benefit to the business is. And that's really where it's at. That's what people want to hear. 99% of the people who are going to be making a decision about using StartPack want to hear about the benefits of the business. They don't understand the complexities of SSL and your
Even if they don't understand, they don't care.
ADSL modems
Well, here's
and all
the
the other
challenge.
stuff that make up the network. What they care about is what the true benefit is to the benefit of the business.
Here's one of the challenges, what I'm doing, is it automates things and puts many people out of work.
Well,
As we evolve in our technology, we move automation into our lives and we displace certain jobs. You know, we continue through it
Honestly,
forever, right?
I've been a consultant for 20 plus years in technology. I do automation daily. Only once have I ever seen anybody get fired as a result of that. Every other situation, it provides the benefit of freeing people up so that they can do other things.
And I agree with you, but I don't know if everybody thinks that.
They don't. No,
No,
you're
no,
right.
you're
You
right.
have to frame it.
Part of the challenge of sound is to make that case and make that persuasive argument that says what that benefit is and what that really value is.
What my real benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now in a B2B situation, you're still gonna have opportunities where you're gonna get in groups, you're gonna go to, whether it's functions, whether it may not be networking functions, maybe you go to a trade association meeting or something where you're gonna have a number of people you can talk to. This is a perfect opportunity for that. This is an opportunity when you're at a sales training and they say you got 15 minutes to go meet someone, this is a really good time to use that elevator, or that networking. That's the perfect length for this.
Thank you. I have to go pick up my kids.
Thanks for coming out. And then the next piece, which is the bigger, really big one, we've all got this, is a product presentation. This is gonna look completely different for every single one of us. And sometimes it'll be a few minutes long, and sometimes it'll be a few hours long, and sometimes it'll be a few days long, maybe even months or years in some cases. I just want to go back to my big thing on this. When you're developing, and a lot of times this isn't something you have to develop in. Even as entrepreneurs in our world that we all live in, most of the time, this is something that's been developed by someone else for us and given to us. Maybe not in some of the mortgage guys. Kip's the owner, so maybe not there. Although there's been stuff used over time that's been effective there. Almost every direct selling company has some kind of a place to start with the script. Yeah, that's different. You may not have, you might have to start from scratch. And what it looks like it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. It's an emotional piece to it, and this is something we can spend hours and hours on. So just, I'm just going to be real brief. Not about you. Find out what they want. Use benefits statements to build up that want and to build up that emotional value so that the emotional piece of this goes up and up and up, and then when you get to this point and it makes sense, then you just transition that easily into, just makes sense to go ahead and get to something, which is the next piece. So the messaging part, this is something that really takes some time to work with. And before we move on, I want to see, does anybody have any questions, or does it make sense, or is that helpful?
So, it seems that most opportunities are one or they last in 1 minute or less.
Okay.
But if that answers the question, one minute. Talking about those messages, if one of those messages fail, you cannot continue with the engagement.
I think a B2B model now, it can take years to land right up.
Okay.
They'd be fine.
You can certainly lose something in the first minute. And you can win something in the first minute as well. You may not, and that's kind of goes back to the whole beginning of the process where you really want to build that rapport, the interest in listening and the paying attention, and really it's important about them where you build that connection. Because if that initial connection and that initial thing isn't there, then they won't hear a word you're saying. You can certainly lose something in the first minute, and it's really hard to get back.
I don't know if we can address this, but like for example, I don't know if I'm talking to the right people.
That's okay.
You just
keep talking and talking and talking.
No, well, that's a little bit of a different, and that's a different step in the process. It's not actually on the list, but that qualifying piece before you start is to make sure that you're, ideally you want to talk to decision makers. That's what you want to give. You don't want to give your presentation to people who can't make a decision, yes or no, for all kinds of reasons. Not the least of which is a waste of time and put you in a bad spot, because when you pitch it to someone, they're going to give it to someone else and they're not going to tell them. But yeah, so that qualification.
It's okay to pitch it to influencers.
To a certain degree. Yes, depending on what you do and what your model is and what you're going to tell them. I would never give someone who can't make the decision before presentation. And if if it's a really big company and that's the only way you can do it, yes. Do everything you can to get in front of the real decision.
Like in mortgage, we never want to present the entire thing to just a husband or just.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
If
if at all possible, I want to
Now,
both.
sometimes that's not something that you can do. In a big corporate project where you're not, the CEO makes the final decision, and whoever that technology officer is the one who is the influencer and makes that choice. Sometimes you have to present it to him, but make sure you get a commitment from him saying, I'm going to show this to you. Are you the one who's going to decide whether this is a no? Yeah, if I tell him we're going to do it, we're going to do it. Okay, that's okay. He has to make the decision, but he's going to listen to my recommendation. Okay, I'm okay with that. No, he's going to have to hear it too. Then I maybe give him a brief one, it'll be a real one. See the difference?
Yeah, this is just an area where I'm really struggling with.
This is something that I'd be happy to talk with you more in depth, because that's a big piece of stuff. And that B2B, especially that complex, large item sales, it's a really important piece, the qualifying piece. Being in front of a decision maker, it's challenging, it's hard sometimes. So
Can you do a class for us?
Absolutely.
I'm with them.
I do actually.
Well, you're talking to a complete non-sales person. I don't even know the lingo and terminology, and to say, like you said, ask them if they're decision makers. To me, that sounds kind of rude. I'm not a salesperson.
Not really. Well,
Not in a big corporation.
Forget sentiment. Here's what I do. And I think this would be a great fit for you guys. If it is, are you the one who's going to say yes? You know, and again, we work on the messaging and make it comfortable for you, because I can say a lot of things easier than other people because they've been doing this a long time, and I don't really. I'm okay doing that. I'd be happy to chat with you more about that and kind of see what that looks like. So let's talk about the most fun part of the whole sales process, which is the closing.
This is a part I just so.
This is where everybody, even the room right now, just all of a sudden got intense. We just say the word. Closing. You just ask, you know? Closing is the part of the sales cycle where things fall apart. Tension in the room changes. Change right now. So, but what if we could change this? What if that tension didn't change? What's going to happen?
You get more sales.
Right? In business, you name it. There's all kinds of cool things that happen. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. I don't think so. So the way it used to be, and you guys, I know Bill's been around for a long time in the sales world. Mike probably has. Mike, I'm sure. So you go into a sales training class, what do? Memorize as many closes as you can. And use them until you run out, or they call the police, yeah. So, I mean, literally, always be closing. And there's a close or more from A to Z. Literally. That's the manager, puppy dog. You name it. Tape, Sharpay,
It's the vacation.
There's many. I mean, just, you name it, there's a lot more than this.
Maybe we need to do things.
Right, we've all learned them, we've all done them, and they're effective sometimes, but if you use them as a manipulative tool, that's where the tension comes from. When you go into that sales mode and you start going on this takeaway close, Heather, I don't know if this is really a good fit for you. I don't think you'd be any good at this business. I don't think this is good. I'm hoping they're gonna say, wait a minute, yes I am. Those kind of, or whatever, you know, the Ben Franklin close. Everybody knows that one. You take a piece of paper out and you write down what are the benefits of doing this and why wouldn't you do it? And you make sure that if you're doing it, you always have a bigger list on why you should than why you shouldn't. Ben Franklin, he always used to make decisions based on this logical formula. This makes sense to do it. Okay, so look at the picture. They're out there, they can be effective, but the paradigm has changed. We don't really want to make that, this is where that uncomfortable stuff comes from. A bunch of people who don't know how to do it. So you do have to ask them. Whether you use close or not, you have to ask them. As many as 65% of salespeople don't even ask for the order. This is like people who've been in for a little time. I was working with a client just recently who sells in-home home improvement products. That's selling. That's the world, that's where old school selling came from. I sat with him on an appointment for 45 minutes, and he never asked them to buy. I said, what do you, finally I had to jump in and say, you want to do it? And guess what? They did. So, this is why our industry has so much turnover as well. If you don't ask for the order, you're going to starve. If all it was we're doing is waiting for people to come and take orders from us, they wouldn't pay us as much as salespeople get paid, because they wouldn't need them. If all of a sudden everybody just came up to you and said, Kip, I need to order this stuff, you wouldn't pay your salesman, you'd pay a bunch of. Right. Well, how about if they go out to the customers and they never ask for the order?
They'd also be unemployed.
Right. Right. So why don't salespeople ask for the order? A bunch of different reasons. These are ones I've gotten from people who actually hold the answer.
I might lose the sale.
Don't have it yet. So-
Right. The only way you know for sure you're going to lose the sale is the guys. I want to piss them off, and I want to lose the rapport. Oh my gosh. You're there. Everybody knows at this point why you're there. So it's just now, when you do get to that point, you've done the whole process, right? You've built value. You're in front of someone who what you offer really does mean something to them. It just makes sense to ask. You're really doing them a disservice if you don't, right? Does that make sense? Right, or even worse sometimes. Some of these health guys, you got somebody who you're talking to and you got diabetes and they're ready to get their leg amputated if they don't change their ways. And you got someone that's going to help them quit eating sugar. If you don't tell them about that, that's bad. You're more than doing them a disservice. You probably should be telling them what's going on. So when you do ask the question, you want to ask it in a positive manner. So I think I want to make it comfortable. I want you to have a scripted closing question, or a number of them would be even better. So when you get to the point where it's time to ask for the order, and you've gone through your process and you've got all your benefits built up, script it, and then practice it. So practice, practice, practice. Because what happens, where that tension comes from, is you get to the point where you practice the conversational piece of this and building benefits and building value. And now you get to the end and you're going, oh crap, what do I got to say now? Practice that part too, so it's a natural flow. Understand you're doing them a service, and then make sure that the answer that you build it so that the answer is going to be what you want it to be. This vacation looks like the perfect fit for what you want. Doesn't it just make sense? Spend some quality time with the people that you care the most about.
But that's not asking for their work.
If they say yes, I'm just going to say,
Oh, is this is the bad example?
no, I think that's what I would use for sure. Instead of something, just a positive question.
But that isn't getting the the order, that's asking a question around some aspect of their life. I don't see that as an
Well, this
order
is for
question.
He's selling a vacation.
She's on a vacation, it's for
We
travel.
already talked about it, we're gonna,
And we're
talk
based
about,
on the motion.
you're gonna go to Disney, you're gonna, or wherever it is, you're gonna play golf 9 times in 3 days, and you're gonna go on a cruise with your wife and have a honeymoon suite. Sounds like a perfect fit for what you want. Sounds like a great way to spend some quality time with those people that you really care about, obviously.
I guess I'm just too literal. See what
If I ask that question to you, you say yes, we're gonna continue on with the process.
yeah, I would agree.
Or another one that you mentioned, is there anything stopping you from booking this vacation? Or is that not positive?
That's a negative, right?
I would ask you. I would. Sounds like we looked at all the good things going on your list. Let's just get going, okay? Really do that.
I'm gonna interrupt your class, I'm
You're
sorry.
here.
Yes, late, but I'm here.
So, to ask it in a positive way, so the question is positive and your response is meant to be positive. Now, this is where we're going to get into a little bit on what you said. We want to assume that the answer is going to be yes. It just makes sense at this point that if everything's happened and we've done everything right, that there's no reason why they wouldn't go ahead, right? Seminar looks like a perfect opportunity for you to build on your sales skills. The next workshop's on Tuesday. Well, just going to be you, or you going to bring a guest? If they don't want to go, they can tell you. But it makes it easy for them to do it. Anybody else go? So tell me,
Well, we'll go a little farther, there's a couple more.
assume the answer is no. So, we'll go back to the other one. Vacation. They don't want to ask that. You've got, everything looks great. All of a sudden, you got your paperwork out in front of you. You see, what's the best phone number for you to get the updates on the flights? You're selling a car. You're going to put your husband on this too, or is it going to be just a year?
Because if you let them down the path, invest into a credit card number, you're sort of now investing in the process.
You can use the credit card on there if you want. I would suggest starting a little bit less credit. A lot of people, so you want to use a credit card or you want to pay cash? It's good. It's something, you better be able to do a little bit in the next card too.
So you can use a Visa card or a MasterCard?
Or, yeah, I take all kinds of credit cards, which one's best for you? But practice that stuff and think about it. So that when you ask it, it's not, you don't have to think you got this stuff. Well, I hope that's where tension comes in. You have a choice. This is what we were talking about a little bit before. Ask a question that has a couple of choices, all leading to where you want it to go to. Do you want to use your credit card or do you want me to bill you for it? 3 are okay, don't go more than 3 choices if you're going to give them choices. 2 is best. 3 is okay, don't go more than that. Let's go ahead and get started. Would you like me to make delivery at the office or would you rather I take it to your house? So, anybody got any ideas on what Tina, what you've gone through the process? Give me an idea what.
What are choices?
Or any of them. I don't care. Just give me a closing question if you might.
So which flavors did you like the most? I can even do different ones, I can break it down. What were the top 3 flavors that you liked the most out of the oils?
Okay, so I like where you're going with that.
And then I could do the balsamics, and
So
then
how
I
about
could
we,
do the
how about we do it
liquors.
this way? So it all looks great and those oils. So how, on your first order, which flavor did you want? Did you want the strawberry or did you want the mango?
Right.
See
But
the little bit of difference on that is?
But I don't want them to choose just one.
Okay. Well, whatever, make
That's
the
kind of
choice.
That's when you
limiting
add
what you
on.
want.
No, but make the choice with, okay. So did you want to go with this, the big pack or the secondary, big, whatever they call it, I don't know what you call it. If you're going to make a choice of 2, that's okay.
Right.
Or, okay, great, we're going to put you down for this package. You want me to send it to the house, or we can send it to the office and surprise your wife with it.
Right.
How about you guys? So tell me something, you got someone who's on the fence and ready to get signed up as a promoter. How are you gonna, they see it, they see the value, what's the closing question?
My promoter. I mean, really, my closing question is always like, would you like to stay as a customer, or would you thought about promoting and making some side cash?
Okay. That's good. Yeah, and someone who's brand new to the whole thing, or someone who's already been a.
Yeah, they can be on the fence, I mean, they're already customers, most people usually are customers.
Okay.
At that point, you just figuring out which they want to continue.
Perfect. Yeah, do you wanna just enjoy the products, or would you rather make some money while you're doing it? Great. Scott, how about you, Ben? Maybe?
No, the same thing, would you like to be a preferred customer, or would you like the opportunity to make some money on the side?
So what I've used is, can I sign you up as a beta customer? So I met with the guy today, and we were talking about potentially the word beta being negative.
Yeah, maybe.
Because people hear the word beta and they create stories around, oh, it's gonna be buggy and they're gonna spend all this time. So
What about pilot?
yeah, so I'm thinking about spinning it differently.
Absolutely, I think that's a great idea, whatever that word may be, whether it's pilot, whether it's something like that. And so, I think in your.
Pilot has some connotations, like they have some control.
You said pilot what?
Pilot customer?
Pilot program?
Pilot program, yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get you started on this. It makes sense, this program's gonna be work well for you. Let's get a pilot program going with you. Are you the one who'd be the main contact on this?
But let's get it, that's not exception. Let's get a pilot program going, it's not an ask. It's a
No, that's
statement.
okay, it's a assumptive statement saying you're going to do it. Are you the main contact on this?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or whatever that looks like. Assume that they bought, and then ask a question that is really easy to answer yes. Does that make sense? This is, you can spend a lot of time with this stuff, and you really should. Amanda and I work a little bit with this stuff too. And she's so good at it, it's amazing.
It's made a huge difference.
So, again, just remember, closing is a natural progression to the conversation. Your attitude and mindset are the keys to being successful in this. If you go into it thinking that you're just gonna get a commission out of it, you're ripping somebody off, you're trying to pull something over on them, guess what? It's not gonna work. And you shouldn't be doing it either. Planning and practice are the keys. The conversation is the most effective, and then just ask. The worst thing that happens is that they say, oh, that's terrible. Right. And if you don't ask, guess what? You just said no assumptively.
You forgot to add the visualization component in the last bullet. Visualize the transaction occurring the morning before.
Or before you go in.
Yeah.
Can you go back
Visualize, that's actually a good point, to visualizing when you go into an appointment or something, or a sales call, before you start, visualizing and having a specific goal as to what you want the outcome of that to be, and seeing that happening is good. Whether that be a sale, or whether that be a next appointment, or whether that be, whatever that looks like in your business. So, that's pretty good stuff. All right. So another guy I work with, kind of why I do this stuff, Kyle. We worked in another big box store, so it was a timeshare company, selling preview vacations. This guy came out of, we were in New Hampshire too. This was a good old boy within the woods of New Hampshire. He wasn't able to do this. He was really big on don't reinvent the wheel. I'm talking about, if you do this, you follow the process and you do it like it's supposed to. Worked for me, and I was one of the top salespeople in the company. I learned from my boss. He was a top salesperson in the company, and he learned from his boss who was even better. Guess what? It works. Kyle understood. Don't reinvent the wheel. Do it consistently. Don't make it harder than it's supposed to be. And always ask for the order. And guess what? He went from being this little country boy from didn't know anything to being the top 5 in sales for this company every single, and I just talked to him last month, he still is, for the last year and a half. Because he followed the system, did what he was supposed to do, just consistent.